So we've been discussing the concept of Nikayon, the Midda that Rabbi Israel Salanter describes as cleanliness, to be above suspicion, to be a clean person in the way that we manage our finances, and of course to have a reputation that is clean. But this week's Parashat also is giving us something a little bit more personal that I think can help us understand a deeper level of the Nikayon. So first of all, one of the most obvious topics of the parasha that is so nogea lemaaseh, so relevant for our days, is the concept of kashrut, the kashrut of ochel, and especially as we get closer to Pesach, we understand that the questions we have, the awareness we need to be of before Pesach is just a reminder, a simple reminder of how challenging it could be sometimes to eat the right thing on a daily basis. And we have that reminder in Parashat Shemini when the Torah is giving us all the halachot, if it's about the behemoth, if it's about the fish, if it's about the ofot. So we really have a full set of guidelines of how exactly a person is supposed to be eating. What kind of diet is a kosher and healthy on a spiritual level diet. And that's definitely something that has to do with Nikayon, with cleanliness, because we understand and we believe at the same time that a person is what he eats. And if a person is, has the shalom, not careful with what he eats, just like on a physical level, it could be unhealthy and really dangerous, so too on a spiritual level. Introducing not kosher food, not checked food, is also something that is quite dangerous, that is killing our soul. And that is, I would say, the basic level of Nikayon or Nikiyut when it comes to the physical level, personal level of each and every one of us. But we also have some more halachot in the next part of the parasha, in the end, that talk about the hachsharat kelim. And hachsharat kelim means that the vessels from which we eat our food from, that includes the pots, that includes also the ovens, the barbecue, and so many other elements that we are using to eat the food that we have, also need to be kasher. And this is also something that is merumaz, that is hinted in the end of the parasha when the Torah talks about the tum'ah and the tahara of the kelim, which means that it's not just about the food itself, but it's also the vessels. And that reminds us that so many times we can make a mistake thinking that the food itself is kasher, and I could go to this or that restaurant because they only serve salad or they only serve fish, and we don't realize, despite and beside all the problems that you could have in the food itself, that the vessels are truly an issue, because the taste of ma'achalim asurim, the taste of not kosher food, is absorbed in those vessels, and will definitely have an impact on the food that will be in our plates. So once again, awareness of the Nikiyut, that is not just going to be about the food that we eat, but also about the vessels in which the food is being served. But today, I want to leave you with what I think is even a more important message in the understanding of what Nikayon or Nikiyut is about. And I think that for this, the Parashat Shemini is giving us an amazing and beautiful example in the beginning of the parasha. A beginning that is not about laws and mitzvot, but more about a very, very sad story. The story of the death of Nadav and Avihu, the two very dear, precious children of Aharon HaKohen, the ones that were supposed to take his legacy and become eventually the leaders of Am Israel. And they passed away. They passed away on the best day of his life, on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the day of his coronation. Vayhi bayom Shemini. The reason why the parasha starts with the word Vayhi, which is Lashon Tsar, it's not a happy language, is because despite the amazing event of the coronation of Aharon HaKohen and all the simcha that surrounded it, he also lost on that day two gems, two children, and that loss was reflected and felt by all Am Israel. And we have that one word that follows the death of Nadav Avihu, the reaction of Aharon. How did Aharon react? Vayidom Aharon. Aharon was quiet. Aharon did not ask questions. Aharon did not rebel against Borei Olam. Aharon was not destroyed. Aharon was able to take the shock and cope the right way, to mourn the right way, to have the right perspective, something that all of us would dream to have, to not be in panic, to keep our calm, to keep our yeshuv da'at, our menuchat nefesh. And I think that the secret of that, if one day, and hopefully one day we also to really be at the madriga of Aharon HaKohen, is to be able to have nikiyut of his dechel, of his intellect. The idea that the mahashavot and the thought that we have are pure, that we have no shemetz, that we have no remez, that we have nothing that is going to shake our emunah, that is going to shake our bitachon, that is going to, chas v'shalom, make us ask the wrong question or say the wrong thing. And that nikiyut is probably something that is a result of how much do we take care of ourselves. How much do we make sure that the kashrut that we keep, the vessels that we keep, to realize that when a person is going to infect himself with ma'achalot asurot, it's not just going to be on a physical level, but also in his intellect, in his emunah, and in his mahashavot. If a person feels chas v'shalom the wrong way and thinks the wrong thing, he shouldn't think about just going to the mikveh or just even doing the teshuvah and pray. It maybe has to do with whatever he inserts inside his body. Maybe it has to do with the level of kashrut and the level of carefulness he has, that maybe he's poisoning his body and his mind. And maybe this is why the halachot of kashrut are in this week's parasha, to remind us that you want to be as pure, as holy, as special as Aharon HaKohen, and make sure that whatever comes inside your mouth is tahor as well. It's not just about health. It's not even just about kashrut. It's also about your sanity, your mind, your connection to Borei Olam, your emunah. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu let us see only semachot. May we never have to experience loss and grief. But nevertheless, may we always be careful with what we insert inside our mouth. Shabbat Shalom U'Barach.